Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today is Friday, so today the video is going to be about. A lot of you wonder how do we go about putting this information together for you guys? How do we do our research? How do we decide on how to talk what topic, and where do we get all our leads from? What is our main bread and butter source for this kind of information which we share with you? So I thought Shashwat can share his process on how he goes about putting these videos together for you guys. So it helps you understand where we're getting the information from. And if you like to do it yourself, you're free to do it yourself. That's it.
Yeah. So the research I do is pretty haphazard, of course, I won't lie. It doesn't have a very streamlined process, but I can take you guys through how I researched for the China versus USA macroeconomic conditions video, and we can take it up from there. So if you actually look at what I do for my research, first I open up the Financial Times and I go through all the headlines, and you see White House unveils ban on U.S. investment in Chinese tech sectors. So now that I have a sort of idea of, I go through the front page and see what looks interesting to me, and if you go deep enough, so now you find the article, Chinese economy falls into deflation as recovery stumbles. So I open up that article, and now okay, and I first go through the subtitle, which tells you everything you need to know. Beijing faces calls for stimulus after consumer price turns negative for the first time since early 2021. Then I basically figure out whether this is something which would be interesting to talk about, because it does take time to read an article, and you don't want to be wasting too much time on each article. And if you're in a rush, reading the headlines, that is, you read this, you pretty much understood, you have a summary of what the article talks about. And before I even read it, I send it over to my uncle, because I figured that it's an interesting enough topic, and if it's something to talk about, and he also goes through the first few lines and he tells me, okay, this is good enough, let's talk about this, and then I go in depth into that. So do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. Most of the heavy lifting is done by Shashwat, to be very honest. Because I run the YouTube team for Anand here, so I'm spread quite thin between the various channels you see me popping up here and there, trying to get the team motivated and keep things going. So to be very honest, Shashwat does all the research. He puts together notes for me. Then he sends it across to me so I can have a quick perusal. Then I just launch into the video. Most of the time, just 5-10 minutes before the video, I go through it and I kind of get a feel on what he's going to talk about and what my opinions are on what he's going to talk about. And then I hand over to him and I just do the intro and I let him talk. And if you notice, most of our videos are like that, where I introduce what today's point of conversation is, then I let Shashwat free flow into it. Most of the times, he talks most of the important points of the article, important points of the video he covers, and he throws me a bone now and then saying, what do you have to say? What do you feel? So I might just like come in like a layman and offer my insight, whatever I feel, whatever I understand. And that's how we conclude the video. But the most critical thing is reading, is what Shashwat has emphasized, and it's very true. You have to spend a lot of time reading, which is what Shashwat does. He reads Financial Times almost, as they used to say in the olden days, cover to cover, page to page, from beginning to end. He read the newspaper, but nowadays it's scroll to scroll, I guess. He scrolls down through the entire site for the day. And actually, believe it or not, in a day, Shashwat will share 4 to 5 articles with me. And he'll say, you want to talk about this? You want to talk about that? And I say, okay, this sounds good. This sounds great. Or sometimes we decide not to go in a certain direction. So to put that kind of information together, it does take a lot of time. And not only do
And
we, if, yeah,
yeah, no, no, I was just saying that sometimes we even forget certain topics which we wanted to talk about, and then it becomes too late, and then you just have to move on to the next one.
correct. Because only when you serve food hot is it nice and yummy. When food is served cold and bland, it's not so nice. Though the food was prepared at the time with great anticipation of being eaten, we somehow missed the boat. And then we like, okay, we talked about it 2 days ago. We thought about this. Should we put this up now? But it's a little too late. It's like tomato prices. Talking about tomato prices now is of no use.
Yeah.
It's kind of the ship is sailed. So there are articles like that. And also, Shashwat doesn't only rely on FT. FT is the main because we need to have trusted sources. Most important fact is that our
Yes.
sources are sources which we trust, that it aligns to our worldviews, what we believe in, essence of what is right and wrong. So our media sources also align with those views. There are media's views which are opposing to whatever we feel is right or wrong, and usually we don't dive into that too much because we don't agree with their outlook. For example, there are a lot of media outlets, big media outlets, which are very gun ho about Bitcoin, which think Bitcoin is something great. We don't think Bitcoin is great, so we tend to discount everything that media has to offer because we don't know if it's a paid promotion or why they're pushing this kind of information out there. The reason why we look like FT is because FT has a long history of being pretty straight and honest with their reporting. And
Yeah,
this is paid. What we subscribers to behind the paid wall. So we are paying for quality information. And I suggest all of you do that. That you are investing. If you're investing for your future, you're investing for your retirement or whatever, your freedom or whatever you want to call it. You're investing your hard-earned money. So it is prudent that if you're going to do your own research, that you have the best information available to you. And to have the best information available to you, you have to spend. It's like how you
yeah.
wouldn't like to work for free. You should not expect any journalist or any researcher to work for free. So to pay for it is of value, and you will get value for this, whatever you pay, and it gives you access to a wealth of information, which you in turn can, as an investor, can digest and decide: should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And you can read an article which me and Shashwat have read and have a completely different opinion about it. Of course, a lot of you
Yes.
think me and Shashwat are permanent bears, that we're constantly saying the market is a bear, the market is, it's going to crash, it's going to crash. It's not that. It's not we who are saying it. If you have access to this information, you'll see quite a lot of well-known red scholars are saying it. People have
Yeah.
studied the markets for years and years. People have, been in the market for years and years. There are Nobel laureates who have looked at this and who have an opinion about which we agree to, which we aligns to what we give you guys access to. So do realize
I
that
mean,
this is not me.
I'm flattered that people think we have the metal to be able to hold on to a certain stance ourselves, because
Correct.
there's no way in which we know enough to be able to hold on to a certain
No.
stance. So yeah,
Correct.
we keep borrowing from very, very smart people who've written about the same things and talked about and contemplated on the same things.
Correct. And we are standing on shoulder of giants. Do trust us. We are standing on
Yeah,
shoulder of giants. And the reason why we did this video is also to be very open and honest and transparent with you guys. So you guys don't think that either we are highly opinionated or you don't think we are some great geniuses who just have like amazing fortune telling skills. None of that is true. It's information which is out there, which is accessible for you too. It's just that we understand you guys don't have time. So we try and go through it, put it together in a nice, neat format so you can digest it fast and eat it like a fast food instead of enjoying it like a gourmet meal, a 7 course meal, spending the whole evening doing it. We try and do a bit of the legwork for you guys so it's easier for you to understand. So we bring
yeah.
that's the main point of this videos which we put out is that we try and put all this information down together and what we think is relevant to you, we try and share with you. We do try and keep our opinions at bay, believe it or not. Though we do sound like we're opinionated, we are not. We try and stick to the facts as much as possible. We try not to color it in our own views, though we do have views. Believe it or not, we have very strong views, me and Shashwat, but we don't try to put our fingerprints over it. We try and leave it to you to make up your own mind. That's why every time we do repeatedly say we're not advisors. We're not advising you. This is just our opinion. This is just our conversations which me and Shashwat have, which we're sharing with you. What do you say, Shashwat?
And yeah, and just to sort of talk about the different sources we look at. So now I found out that the China topic is something I want to talk about. And what I do is I take up one of these note cards, which is very cheap. You can buy them on Amazon. And even if you're not making videos like we are, you can still buy one and sort of jot down the most important numbers. So you can say, okay, the consumer price index fell 0.3%, and the producer price index fell 4.4%. And now this number is, you can write it down, of course, and you can sort of look at the graph and figure out, and the graphs are interactive, of course, as well. So that's something good. And you can talk about the most important points which you need to know. And you can look at the consumer price index, which is negating your energy and food, which is your core inflation. and that is at 0.8% over here. And yeah, and you can basically look at all the numbers noted down, and that's basically how we come up with these videos where we have the numbers ready to go for you. And another source which we look at now, I found out that this China thing is important. I immediately switch over to another source, The Economist, and then I go through it and I search for the same topic. Okay, can China escape deflation? So let's look at, can China escape deflation? Let's see what The Economist has to say about it, and basically just go over it as well and see what a secondary source has to say about it. And funnily enough, all these articles have external links which go out as hypertext
Correct.
links. That is something you can keep clicking on and going to different, like the tomato video which we made. That we the, believe it or not, the amount of sources we looked at was the New York Times, Financial Times, the BBC, and a few more other sources, which the Indian Express as well, just because of how many hyperlinks were there. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
And do realize, sitting in India, far away from America, and not participating in American news cycle on an hourly or even a daily basis, we do have to take our time and be sure of our information regarding the American market. So some of you are wondering, why aren't we talking about more American stocks, more American companies? The simple reason is we're not there. We're not sitting in the US, nor do we have access to interact with people in America on an hourly or daily basis. So our information does trail a little bit compared to what you guys are probably sitting in the US and wondering why we're not talking about this company or that company. And another thing is we have to vet this information. You know, we have to make sure whatever we feel is where we put our money in. If me and Shashwat don't feel like buying a company, we don't talk about it. We're not here to pump up a company or say this, you should be in this sector just because everyone is saying it. That's not what we do. We're not influencers of any kind of any sort. We're just absolutely sharing whatever we think is where we are at personally. So do keep that in mind. And like Shashwat said, it's a great thing to write because even if you're reading an article, there's lots of noise in an article. So by writing down, you pick the signals which you want to keep an eye on. And whatever signals are important for me may be noise for Shashwat. Whatever Shashwat considers as signals may be noise for me. So it's better to, segregate your signals and then compare and contrast with whomever you're willing to share this information with and see what they think are signals. So this is one of the ways me and Shashwat always debate about what we think should be spoken about, how it should be spoken about. Is this relevant or important for you guys? This is what we do. What else, Rashid?
Yes.
You want to specify anything else?
Yeah, and I just want to show the third source which we use finally. The Wall Street Journal. This we don't use very much, but sometimes you do get some good pieces on here. And yeah, this is again the China's economic recovery weekends, and you see that this has way more information than any of the past two articles. So this is another source which you can sort of look at and figure out whether this is something you want to read more about or not. So yeah, this is pretty much how we go about it, and it's not as systemic as most of you figure it out to be. It's quite haphazard, but there is a sort of order which is involved in the mess, and you do
Yeah,
start
method
at
to
point A.
madness.
Yeah, the method to madness. You do start at point A and end at point B, although it's a very loose way of going to the spot where you want to be.
Correct. And this has got nothing the way Anand does his research and Anand talks because Anand is completely different ball game.
Yeah,
Anand reads constantly. Anand, this is very, whatever me and Shaka are putting so much effort for, is very effortless for Anand.
yeah,
The way he analyzes things, the way he sees things, the nuances of something, he just looks at it and he knows. And how
yeah,
he knows, we don't know. So please don't assume Anand does any of this. Anand really
yeah,
doesn't. Anand's like, he comes, he sits down, he's like, we're going to talk about this, and okay. And he knows everything about it before even we talk about it. So most
yeah,
of the time we're chasing him and we'll be finding out more information as we're talking. That's why most of the time in Anand's videos, me and Shash will be like, yeah, 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 right, correct, yes, yes. And all of you are wondering why you're just sitting there going, yes, yes, correct, correct. And because it's very hard for us to keep up with him. It's like Hussein Bolt running a marathon. Imagine at that speed, you run
yeah,
a marathon. A 15-minute video, 20-minute video, it gets quite hard for us to keep up with him. So
yeah.
most of the time, most of the information flies over our heads, but we do our best. That's why me and Shashwat do enjoy our conversations because it's a much slower pace. and we can actually keep up with each other, and we
Yeah.
bounce off each other without feeling completely lost. But
Yeah.
I do understand you guys miss Anand. We have told Anand this, that you guys are missing him. He's still in Japan, so he should be back by the Independence Day. And I'm sure once he's back, he'll do a lot more videos with me and Shashwat.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, yeah, what he said is true. And I need this to sort of memorize all the facts. He just reads it once and it's in there.
Yeah,
So it's
we don't have
remarkable.
that kind of, yeah, we don't have that. And he remembers things like from decades back, which
Yeah.
is something I can't even imagine doing. Anyway, we digress. Enough hero worshipping for a while, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching us on Beat It today. I hope you found this conversation interesting and informative as always. Do turn on the bell notification icon and subscribe to our channel so you'll be notified every time we come up with something new. And if there's something you think your friends and your family would like, please do share our videos with them. We'd like to thank you again for joining us on Beat It. And have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
On 26th August, we are doing an event in Bangalore, Whitefield. Those desirous of meeting me in that event can contact the WhatsApp number or the email given below. My team will give you the details. Thank you once again for supporting Be Rich. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.